Pioneer Village is what's known as the Harold Warp Pioneer Village Museum and is located on 138 East US Highway 6 in Minden, Nebraska. Also, the Pioneer Village Museum is open 9 to 6 from Memorial Day weekend to Labor Day weekend, and open 9 to 4:30 from Labor Day weekend, after Labor Day, I believe, to after Memorial Day, I believe. The Pioneer Village, or before Memorial Day, I should say. The Pioneer before Memorial Day weekend. The Pioneer Village complex comprises 28 buildings on 20 acres, housing over 50,000 irreplaceable items of historical value to restore to operating order, arranged in groups and also in the chronological order of their development. Also, there are 12 historic buildings around the circular green. There's a Frontier Fort, a real honest-to-goodness Pony Express station, an Iron Horse, and a home made of sod. There's a general store, a toy store, chock full of all goods from yesteryear, an original art collection including 25 Currier and Ives prints, 23 Jackson paintings, and the largest single collection of Rogers statues, and features a steam carousel and big trains and smaller trains. One steam locomotive can be seen indoors and 2 can be seen outdoors, and 3 trolleys are inside the building, and a historic railroad depot can be seen outside too, with toy trains inside on the right as you enter the building and go through the door on the right. Also, the museum dedicates memory to Harold Warp, the founder of Pioneer Village in Minden, Nebraska. Huntsville and Lake of Bays 2 was built by Henry Kirk Porter in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in 1888 and is the 912th steam locomotive built by that factory and is an 040T tank engine, four-wheeler type steam locomotive. Huntsville and Lake of Bays 2 was purchased second-hand from the E.B. Eddy Company in Hull, Quebec. Passenger service was provided by 2 coaches constructed from horse-drawn streetcars of the Toronto Street Railway, one 50-passenger and 180 passenger equipped with hinged back seats that could be flipped over so that passengers could always face in the direction of travel without the need to turn the coach around to handle with the large volume of freight, lumber, and tan bark. The Portage Railway had 2 boxcars and 3 flat cars, all custom built by the railway crew. The Little Portage Railway was advertised as the smallest commercial railway in the world. By 1948, the original Porter steam engines had reached the end of their working life and failing to pass the annual boiler inspection, were removed from service. Huntsville, Lake and Bays 2 was bought by a collector, Cameron Peck of Chicago, Illinois, And Huntsville and Lake of Bays 2 was then put on display at the Harold Warp Pioneer Village Museum in Minden, Nebraska, and can be seen displayed inside the building and is currently numbered incorrectly as number 1, but there may have been a mix-up of number plates on to the locomotives. Omaha City Railway Company 1 was built like maybe somewhere in the 1830s and is a horse-drawn trolley. Omaha City Railway 1 was once used to haul people on board downtown streets of Omaha, Nebraska, and is like the oldest horse car surviving, maybe. Also, it was once pulled by a horse when it was going on streets of Omaha, Nebraska, and maybe in downtown Omaha. Also, Omaha City Railway Company 1 was then retired, then came to be on static display at the Harold Warp Pioneer Village in Minden, Nebraska, where it is today. San Francisco Municipal Railway 47 was built by the Holman Car Company in San Francisco, California in 1907 and is a cable car that looks similar to the ones you mostly see in San Francisco, California. San Francisco Municipal Railway 47 has on the front and back end saying O'Farrell Jones and Hyde Streets. San Francisco Municipal Railway 47 has hauled people up and down the street hills in San Francisco, California, and been seen running on streets. Then later on, San Francisco Municipal Railway 47 was retired, then came to be on static display at the Harold Warp Pioneer Village Museum in Minden, Nebraska, where it is today. Also, you can even step aboard the car and see what it was like to ride a cable car in San Francisco, and which it still happens today in San Francisco. Fort Collins Municipal Railway 20 was built by American Car Company in Canton, Ohio in 1919 and is a Barney trolley car. Fort Collins Municipal Railway 20 is the first of one of 4 Barney cars that were built. Fort Collins Municipal Railway 20 was used for the Fort Collins Municipal Railway with sister trolleys on the trolley line in Fort Collins, Colorado. Also, Fort Collins Municipal Railway 20 was then retired, then came to be part of the Harold Warp Pioneer Village Museum in Minden, Nebraska, where it is today. And also, as it is seen here on display, you can also climb aboard in the trolley and check out the interior of the car as well. Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy 967 was built by Baldwin in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in 1899 and is the 16,950th steam locomotive built by that factory and is a 460 10-wheeler type steam locomotive and is a K10 class steam locomotive. Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy 967 was originally numbered as and had the road name as Burlington and Missouri River 343 and class was H4 and was a 260 mogul type steam locomotive. Then became Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy 1229 and still class H4. This locomotive was rebuilt at Havelock Shops in Havelock, Nebraska in 1914 and renumbered as Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy 967 and given the class K10. and redesigned as a 460 10-wheeler type steam locomotive. Also, Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy 967 was used for hauling freight for the Burlington and Missouri River and Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy Railroad. Then in 1955, Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy 967 was then retired, then came to be on display at the Harold Wart Pioneer Village Museum in Minden, Nebraska, where it is today. Also, Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy 967 is one of 5 surviving Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy 460s that survive today. And Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy 967 can be found here at the Pioneer Village Museum in Minden, Nebraska, and can be seen on display. And you can also climb into the cab of the locomotive and even sit where the engineer and fireman used to sit, and even ring the locomotive's bell.
And that's how it's done.
Huntsville and Lake of Bays 1 was built by Henry Kirk Porter in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in 1888, and is the 911th steam locomotive built by that factory and is an 040T tank engine 4-wheeler type steam locomotive. Huntsville and Lake of Bays 1 was purchased secondhand from the E.B. Eddy Company in Hull, Quebec. Passenger service was provided by 2 coaches constructed from horse-drawn streetcars of the Toronto Street Railway, one 50-passenger and one 80-passenger, equipped with hinged back seats that could be flipped over so that passengers could always face in the direction of travel without the need to turn the coach around to handle the large volume of freight, lumber, and tanbark. The Portage Railway had 2 boxcars and 3 flat cars, all custom built by the railway crew. The Little Portage Railway was advertised as the smallest commercial railway in the world. By 1948, the original Porter steam engines had reached the end of their working life and failing to pass the annual boiler inspection and were removed from service. Huntsville and Lake of Bays 1 was bought by a collector, Cameron Peck of Chicago, Illinois, and Huntsville and Lake of Bays 1 was then put on display at the Harold Wart Pioneer Village Museum in Minden, Nebraska, and can be seen displayed in the backyard of the museum next to the other steam engine, and is currently numbered incorrectly as 2, but it may have been a mix-up of number plates to the locomotives. Burlington and Missouri River 9 was built as a bobber caboose. Burlington and Missouri River 9, I do believe, was built somewhere around the early 1900s or late 1800s. Also, Burlington and Missouri River 9 is a wooden bobber caboose that was used for the Burlington and Missouri River Railroad and was used behind narrow gauge or standard gauge trains. I think it's actually standard gauge, maybe. Also, Burlington and Missouri River 9 was then retired, then came to be on display at the Harold Wart Pioneer Village in Minden, Nebraska, where it is today. And you can even walk through it and see what it was like on the inside, which still is today. Okay, I'm going to show you the trains on the shelf along the main lobby, so you can get behind the camera. So here we go. Okay, so here's the steam engine. And right there's a cattle car. There's some boxcars and cattle cars. A lot to see. And there's refrigerator cars as well. There's a C-line box. There's a flat car. There's another gondola, more than them. Wow, could you see how many railroads those are? Hard to see from behind these. Probably can't see much of them because these are in the way. No wonder these pieces of transportation are a little too close. But you could come here and see them for yourself if it's possible. And look at all these they have. This is like an old-time freight train from the mid-90s, it looks like. Yep. And hard to see from behind that airplane right there. And these cars. Wow. And I see a tanker car. And I'll just walk around these cars so I can give you an up-close look. So here we go to the end of the line. So you can see there's a caboose right there. Yep, here's the last cars. Yep, there's the caboose. And that's all they have right on the shelf, as you could see. Many trains looks like. These look kind of like the ones Walt Disney used in his backyard years ago. What you see right behind me is the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy Lowell Depot. The Lowell, Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy Depot was built like in the late 1800s or earlier mid-1900s. It was originally located in Lowell, Nebraska, and it would even be used for passenger service on the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy Railroad. And passengers would arrive on a train from somewhere coming into Lowell or boarding a train going somewhere from Lowell as well. Then later on it was retired from passenger service and it was moved from Lowell, Nebraska and moved to Pioneer Village in Minden, Nebraska, where it is today. And you can also walk inside it and you'll also find exhibits inside it as well. Okay, you can see up above me, this is a depot signal. And it was used to control train and also depot here which is here, right here at the trail, the Pioneer Village in Minden, Nebraska. Okay, I'm going to show you the exhibits around in here, so I'll get behind the camera and show you around, so come along. Okay, so coming into the building, here we go in the ticket office. Here's some lanterns, an agent hat, Morse code, telegraph key, and lanterns, and some mini trains and such. And here's a potbelly stove right here, and back here, here's some lanterns, more lanterns, and here's some smaller trains and passenger stool steps. And this looks like an American Flyer train. And here's a CB&Q steamer number 3005. And yep, that looks like a CB&Q
passenger car, it looks like. Yeah, so much to see in here. Yeah. Okay, you can see right here, this is a velocipede. You can see it looks like a bicycle. It's kind of like this thing this bicycle does. And also, this handle you pull, you sit right here, and you pull it back, allow it to go. And it has 3 wheels because it's made this way. Okay, you can see right here, this is a hand car that is here at the museum, Pioneer Village. And also, it is next to the 2 steam engines seen outside. And you can see right here. Also, it was used, you would have to have one person stand here, or even one person move it back and forth and pump the handle. Okay, you can see this speeder right here. It has no roof. It was probably made this way. And also, you see, it is more modern. So you would use it to go down the tracks. Much easier than a handcar these days. Well, I hope you all enjoyed learning about trains with me today. Matthew Lab Train Guy segment show. Also, I hope to see you all again in the next segment. So this is Matthew Lab, host of Matthew Lab Train Guy segment show. Until next time, all aboard!